The Area Truck Series playoffs continue. Round 2 of 5 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Round 1 last week at the Indianapolis Raceway Park was a wild one. Short track bumping and banging. Lots of green flag racing though. But as we head into our second round and the first of our eliminations, we're going to start cutting people from our lineup from our varsity team. 4 of our 12 drivers are going home after this one. They're not going to be able to race for a championship after 120 laps here tonight at Las Vegas. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna. Finian, it is playoff elimination night, and the drivers at the bottom of this list in the red are in trouble tonight. They have work to do.
Oh, they definitely have work to do, and some very notable drivers at the bottom of the grid. Cameron Hearn and James Scioli, both of them being stuck down there after missing the race last week due to the college series for iRacing going on, so they were taking part in that event. Missed the truck series at IRP and took a heavy hit in the point standings because of that. And James Scioli, I'm sure he wants to try to drive himself out of that after being eliminated last night from the Cup Series. Last thing he wants is a double elimination.
Yeah, the goal right now is to jump up the spots, but 19 points back from the cut line is a long way back, so he's got a lot of work ahead of him and some luck required, and I think really it's going to turn into a must-win scenario for Scioli, and he's only 12th in practice as it stands. You mentioned Cameron Hearn in a similar situation. The guy that is sitting pretty right now, though, and doesn't have to worry too much at all, that's Travis Beckner. He's already on to the next round with that win from IRP last week, and that Rick's Hot Sauce number 28 is already locked for round number 2 of playoffs. So he's in good shape. Danny Ware, quickest in practice. AJ Roderick up towards the top of the board. Brad Slaughter Jr., Cody Cutler's also in the mix. And then as for the team championship so far, Finian, similar story there based on some of the drivers out last week. But look at Jacob Bell Racing, 1,025 points and 5 wins to the name over DWR with 957. The real battle, though, still between IRLC and 5 Wide Esports. Only a handful of points, 8 points between those, and 7 back to Sky Motorsports in P6.
Yeah, and with Daniel Iser Racing, it's kind of amazing when you look at that graphic. The fact that they have no wins, yet they're still in second place, just shows you how consistent that team has been, but I'm sure they want to get a win at some point just to get that sticker up there.
Back on the racetrack now, practice is underway. Another driver that was fighting for his life at IRP last week that put himself in a great spot for tonight. That's Eric Weilock. A great spot might be relative compared to where he was last week. He is above the cut line coming into this evening, but he was way down at the bottom of it heading into IRP. So the goal is to continue that progress from last week. Had a phenomenal run there up onto inside the top 5. So we'll see if Eric Wineland can do the same here this week, but practice not looking super promising for the 21. Right now, P22, Finian.
No, and he did a lot of the brunt work I think he needed to do last night, and not last night, sorry, last week. Last night, Wyland mentioned to us that he was a little bit nervous coming to tonight because he is still on the bubble. He's not completely clear, especially with guys like Cameron Hearn, James Scioli, guys that we know are going to run near the front of the field. They're going to be taking home a decent amount of points, will be enough to upset the order in the of the 8 drivers that are locked in. We have, or sorry, I shouldn't say locked in, currently sitting in the playoffs. We are going to have to see by the time the checkered flag falls what it's going to be like. Really, for Wineland, I think, though, is just to finish in a semi-decent position. It doesn't have to be the greatest performance, especially like the performance he had last week at IRP, but we'll have to see what he does here at Vegas.
And it's another night race tonight, just like it was last evening. So the air temperature 66, track temperature 67. That is almost as cool as it gets here in iRacing, which means the track's going to be grippy and you're going to be almost full throttle around here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is a very fast track for the trucks here, just like the place that we're going next week. That, of course, is going to be Auto Club Speedway for the Truck Series, Cup Series, and Lodge Box next week. This is going to be almost flat out, and probably is flat out on your qualifying laps and early on in the race, and only towards the end of the run will tires start to force you to lift and maybe touch the brake a little bit. Fast racetrack, though, and high commitment. Inside lane, outside lane, you're going to find multi-groove will probably work pretty well tonight.
Oh, I expect multi-groove to work pretty well in practice. I was looking earlier. Guys are going 3 wide, hanging through 3 and 4 in a pack pretty much. Which I think is exactly what we're going to see, especially on the starts and the restart. I think we're going to see guys in a big group, and it's going to slowly spread out, and as the tires start to wear off and these guys are going to have to lift a little bit more. Looking at AJ Roderick in the 56 machine, currently second on the timesheets, looking pretty good.
Yeah, he is up high on the order tonight in practice, at least. Second, right behind Danny Ware in the double zeros. It's behind him in the Danny Ware Racing double zero. And both those drivers having a really strong run. Brad Slaughter Jr. quick here in practice. So is Cody Cutler. He's in the 5-wide sports truck up high at a 3 and 4. The trouble spot last night seemed to be at the exit at turn 2 and heading down the back straightaway. There is always a calamity corner at these ovals, despite them looking pretty similar. We saw last night rubber building up in 3 and 4, not so much in 1 and 2, and that led to some chaos down the back stretch.
Yeah, I think with the way turn 2 is, everyone's coming up against that wall on exit. Similar to turn 4, but I feel like in turn 2 more, we see a lot of guys get awfully close to the exit wall, and I have a feeling, at least the way they're running right now, I have a feeling that's probably going to be the way it's gonna be similar to what we saw last night.
And just shy of 30 trucks on the entry list for this evening, so it's a busy racetrack, or it was for a little while in practice. And the drivers that have run the most laps, that would be Travis Beckner, last week's winner. Eric Wineland has run 50 laps here in practice, pulls it down pit lane. He's already worn out. He's run almost half the race distance in practice alone and still has qualifying to contend with. But tonight, I think track position is going to be challenging to come by because these trucks are running so close to their limit in terms of power and the lap times they're making already on their own. Getting passes done might be a challenge, but I thought that would be the case last night, and it seemed like movement was pretty easy in the Cup Series stuff, so we'll see if that's the case tonight as well.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine it being the Truck Series. I feel like the trucks manage to kind of, no matter what, they manage to find make it, in a way, they're able to pass one another. It's been really rare to see where the trucks haven't been able to pass, because they're still, I would say, with the chassis and the way they are, they remain pretty consistent compared to the Xfinity and the Cup Series, the amount of changes those cars have seen to their engines, to the chassis, to the aerodynamics. The trucks remain pretty much the same, and I think that's why they race so well.
What you're saying is that it is what it is because of the way that it is?
Yes.
Okay, good to know.
Summarize, yes.
Only 2 trucks left on track here in the late stages of practice. Cody Cutler still getting some laps in here in the 25 5-wide sports truck. And as far as Cutler's season, 25th in points hasn't been a lot to speak of, except for the win that he had at Michigan about 3 weeks back. Other than that, though, every other result has been outside of the top 10. Only one other top 15 result. So it has been everything or nothing for this 25, looking to maybe steal a second one tonight.
Yeah, we'll see. You could argue he lucked into the win at Talladega. If he can get one done tonight, though, it's kind of hard to argue that there's a whole lot of luck involved with the way that a mile and a half operates. But we'll see if he can get it done here, and we'll see who's going to be on pole at the very least here as qualifying is just about to begin. All
right, practice is complete. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. For only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. Head to twitch.tv/Area iRacing to watch the stream over there. If you're joining us here on YouTube, thanks for being with us here. But Area iRacing's Twitch is where you can use all those channel points and get set up with free merchandise. Qualifying is underway now, heading back down to the racetrack here in the nighttime. And it is the right time, as you said last night a couple times. It's like Darrell Waltrip used to say, it's like you turn the contrast up on your TV. It just makes everything that much more exciting. Brad Slaughter Jr., one of the first drivers on track in the Lumar, number 8.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those drivers where, again, it's still kind of surprising the fact that he does not have a win this season. We've been talking about him. At some point, we feel like he's going to break the ice, get that first W, because, everyone else around him, first, second, third, fourth, and sixth in the standings, has got a win except for him, sitting 5th. No wins to his name. 5 top 5s and 8 top 10s, but no wins to that number 8 machine yet.
He's had a small handful of some bad results here. 20th at Michigan, 24th at Bristol Dirt, 20th at Gateway, and then a 29th at Rockingham. Other than that, though, essentially all top 10s minus the 11th he had last week. So really good shape, really good consistent season. And for a guy like Brad Slaughter, this is one of those drivers that will just find his way to victory lane if he just keeps doing what he's doing. And you don't really want to change up something that's working. It's not getting him wins, Finian, but I also don't know if he was to get that much riskier on the racetrack, he might not have the good results he's had so far.
That's true, but however, with the way this championship format is, by the last race of the season, you're pretty much going to have to win. It's very rare that we see in real life and even in the sim that the driver that takes home the championship with the one race championship format, we It's very rare that we don't see the champion win the race, so in that respect, he's probably going to have to get a W at some point. Will not be at least starting on the top in qualifying here. That's going to be David Weishart at the moment, Cameron Hearn, then Brad Slaughter.
Yeah, Hearn had a really good first lap. Weishart a better one on lap number 2, though, a 30.699 for David Weishart, who is currently leading the point standings, and it has been an interesting year for him. 3 wins, 1 pole, 10 top 10s of the 13 races that we've run, so it's been a really good season for the 33. For Cameron Hearn, though, this is a really important night. He's second to last in terms of the playoff drivers. No wins, 1 pole, 8 top 10s, though. He's been really consistent. He just hasn't managed to get that win that he needs to launch himself to the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, between him and Slaughter, both of them are surprised that we haven't seen the win, especially because we've seen Cameron Hearn. He had quite a few wins last season in the Truck Series, no wins so far this season, and he would really love to get a win home tonight, especially also the number 7 who we're looking at, James Skiley, would also love to get a win tonight to lock himself into the next round because he's on the outside looking in. He needs a good qualifying effort.
He's only started 10 races this season. He's won 2 of them. Imagine a driver that's got 2 victories being eliminated in the first rounds of the playoffs, so that would be a big deal. And it all comes down to missing last week. No one was safe heading into IRP, certainly not the drivers that weren't able to make it. A 31.231 for Scioli in lap 1, but a slow lap 1 usually means a very fast lap 2. Here he is in 1 and 2 now.
Yeah, you don't push the truck as much as you can on the first lap. Save all your equipment, save everything for lap number 2. We'll see if the 7's got anything in store here as he's halfway through, heading through 3 and 4, keeping the truck nice and tucked on that white line. Don't want to touch it, just stay right off it, off of turn 4. Can he improve? Near the front of the standings, we'll see as he comes across the line.
37.33, not good enough for pole. It will put him tied for 4th place, though, and he'll grab 4th away from Cody Cutler on the 100,000th of a second. It's like last night, really tight margins, 12 drivers essentially within a 10th of a second. Ryan Hartz goes P3.
Just going to mention him jumping up to the top. You can see 5 playoff drivers inside the top 5, so definitely seeing the guys who earn their stripes here for the playoffs, trying to get near the top of the order. Looking at Eric Wineland on his warm-up lap, a bunch of drivers getting out on the track. Now, it's kind of funny how they all kind of come out in groups, and now the second group of guys is about to start their qualifying lap.
I really liked the original NASCAR group qualifying at road courses. This is way back to the 2011-2012 era of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They used to do qualifying in like groups of 5 or 4, and so cars would go out 3 or 4 at a time. So you had more stuff happening on track, but it wasn't the absolute chaos that is fully open qualifying. Really interesting thought and strategy behind there.
Ooh, Justin Anasogak, number 88 machine, another driver we talked about. He's not necessarily on the outside looking in, but has the chance of getting knocked out if he's not careful. And he's got himself, he's 11 points out of the top 8. So he needs to have a good night tonight. It's going to be on pole for now. So can anyone knock him off?
He had a pole at Michigan as well. So this is the 2nd pole of the season if he stays there. Also, because this is working, and I want to stress test this for the first time in a really long time, we've got our live timing and scoring working. So go ahead and try to break it. Head over to simtvbroadcasting.com and navigate to the live timing section and see if you can pull up the timing and scoring for this race on your browser at home. We'll see if we can crash the system and make it break, because I'm pretty confident it's working fine now. So it hasn't worked essentially in a year or 2, and now I want to see everyone trying to make it not work.
Ooh. And one driver that just went to the top, if you're watching the timing and scoring, Eric Wineland in the 21 machine. We talked about drivers. We saw Ricky Springer in the Cup Series. Something fire got lit under his behind. Jumped to the top to the top of the order in the last few weeks. And Eric Wineland, 2nd last week at IRP, pole at Las Vegas if it stands.
If it stands, Alex Weaver's on track in the 98 here. He comes out of turn 4. I'm going to say hi to Richard Thomas and Randy Barker, fathers of AJ Roderick and Brad Slaughter. So they're checking in, saying hi to their sons right now. And right now, update on Brad Slaughter. He's running 6th. And the 56 of A.J. Roderick was fastest in practice. And in terms of qualifying, has landed himself 21st. We'll see how he does in the race. Here's Weaver now into turn 3. But Wineland's time might stand here. Only Munsell, Tate, Ryan, and Hurley left. But I'm not sure that a couple of those are even going to make qualifying attempts.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like they may be starting from the back. It'd be interesting to see if Hurley starts from the back. Actually, just saw him pop up. I think he's about to roll it onto the track. Justin Munsell coming out of turn 4 now, complete his first time lap.
39.10 for Munsell. That was not a bad first go. Well, okay, it was sort of a bad first go. That's a 25th. It's so close. He's only 2/10 off the leader, and he's 25th.
Yeah, I mean, this shows you when you're on full throttle for these qualifying laps, as all these guys are, that momentum you build up from lap 1 to lap 2, that makes up that difference. So we'll see, does 20 have anything? Is he able to get 2/10 to get himself near the top of the order coming out of turn 4? Going to slam onto the apron and come across the line.
37.59. They'll land him about 12th spot. And Christopher Tate on track now in the number 6. Vineland's pole position looking pretty solid with only 3 drivers left to make runs here.
Yeah, I think definitely the drivers to look out for would be Tommy Ryan and Jordan Hurley, especially Jordan Hurley in the 5. We've seen himself peak near the top of the order occasionally. He might be a threat to that. Tate sole first lap, as we've seen consistently, though arguably a lot slower than we've seen some other drivers. So we'll see if he gets any pickup on lap 2.
Down the back straightaway now at 180 miles an hour for Christopher Tate. 181 off into turn 3. Hurley's first lap registers 28th quick. It's Tate out of turn 4.
Yeah, keeps it nice and tight in 3 and 4. Is it enough, though, as he comes across the line from 29th?
Nope.
We'll see where he jumps up to. It will not be much, up to only 18th. Jordan Hurley now lies on the number 5 truck coming out of turn 4.
31.645 was his first lap. Will lap 2 be a big jump? It is going to be a 37.72, good enough for about 15th place. Tommy Ryan, the last driver left to qualify, the last driver with an opportunity. Oh, he's in the grass.
Oh, and that's going to kill his attempt. He came across the line, so can't even reset, and he's going to be slow on lap 2 here, so he's definitely going to be starting from the back.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan will start from the tail. Drivers in the blue on the timing and scoring, those are your playoff competitors. So anyone in the white is not competing for the championship. Those that are in the blue are. 4 of those 12 that are lit up in blue will not be blue next week when we head to Auto Club Speedways. Just keep that in mind, that's what we're fighting for tonight, is a spot in the round of 8 in the playoffs. Tommy Ryan across the line. And a 32.126. No dice. He will start 30th. Las Vegas.
Pretty much going to wrap up qualifying there.
Yep, that's going to be basically it. Everyone's qualified. Las Vegas, this is one of the newer ovals on the NASCAR schedule, constructed back in 1996. And this 1.5-mile speedway was constructed in that year at the cost of $72 million. Something tells me if it was built now, it would be a whole lot more. Something also tells me that the Formula One circuit being built in Las Vegas is going to be a lot more than that.
Yeah, and to think that half of that's using existing roads as well. The circuit that's coming on the streets of Las Vegas can be on the Las Vegas Strip itself. That's going to be interesting to see. And also, it's funny because in my mind, I can't wrap my head around Las Vegas being a newer track, because it's just always been a track for me. Because I mean, it was built in '96, so that was before you and me were born. Yeah, so it's always existed us. Although it didn't exist in this current configuration. I forgot the year they reconfigured it to give it more banking. If you know it.
I don't off the top of my head, but I don't remember that.
It used to be a lot flatter.
Yes, quick correction. Randy is Brad Slaughter's grandfather, not his father. So Richard Thomas is AJ's dad, though. So I had one of those two right. But we're waiting to kick things off here, so before we get rolling, our starting grid is brought to you by Roasted Gems Coffee. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. When we head down to the grid, we'll bring you the starting lineup. For now, though, just taking a breather before we kick things off. The finish of this season will take us to Auto Club Richmond, and then Nashville will be done by February 21st. That is our last race at Nashville Super Speedway, and it is the same schedule for all 3 of the series. We saw the Cup race last night here. We have the Launch Box race on Thursday, but all 3 series will share the same schedule until the end of the season.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how all of them tackle it, especially as we start to eliminate more and more drivers. We're going to keep talking about it all night long. The fact that we're sending 4 drivers home tonight, and especially potentially some very high-profile drivers tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how this race plays out, who's going to be going home, who's going to be locked in here, taking a look at the team standings again before we get going.
Yeah, here's another look at the team standings of the drivers and teams that have some work to do Jacob Bell Racing leads by a pretty significant margin, but from really it's the battle for fourth that everybody's watching. That's between iRLC, 5 Wide, and Sky. Then we head over back to the driver points. Beckner is locked. David Weishart is locked in on points. Anyone from Hearts on back could theoretically miss the playoffs starting next week if they have a bad night. So even Ryan Hartz isn't safe, and based on last night, the luck that he has had, I wouldn't never count that out as a possibility, but we will be wishing the best for him this evening.
Considering he got less than 35 trucks, I would say he's pretty much locked in, even though he's not officially locked in, if you know what I mean. I think you can kind of include him there. But I would say everyone from Matthew Bell is still pretty much at risk. And we saw last night, Michael Curran, he barely made it through the skin of his teeth. He had I think 17-point lead ahead of the cutoff, and he managed to only make it by 2 points, and that was because he just kept in. He was 11 laps down, kept in it. Of 2 guys ended up dropping connection or had some sort of issue that caused him to disconnect from the server, and he was able to walk home barely into the playoffs. So we can definitely see some guys like Brad Sauter or even Jordan Hurley, guys who we think are good. They may, if they have an issue, if they have an early wreck early on, take them out of contention. Could be seeing them going home.
Time to roll through our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Here it is. Eric Wineland on the front row trying to move on after being the bottom seed in the playoffs. He leads the way to green alongside Justin Anasogak in the number 88.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. And behind them, David Weishart locked into the next round. He's nothing to worry about tonight. Meanwhile, the guy next to him, Cameron Nern, has a lot to worry about tonight, being 13 points back from the cutoff.
Row 3, Ryan Hartz in the number 3. He was so close to victory last night, I think he could ease the pain with another victory tonight. Brad Slaughter Jr. starts 6th in the number 8.
Back to Tyler Hallman, the first non-playout driver on the order, starting in 7th place. Next to him, James Scott, another driver on the outside looking in, needs a good night from 8th place.
9th place is Cody Cutler in the number 25. Chris Seiden finds the number 45 truck. He rolls off 10th.
Back in 11th place is going to be the 18 truck of Colin Fambro rolling off. Next to him is Justin Munsell in the 20 machine in 12th place.
13th place is Travis Beckner. Won last week. He's all set for round of 8. Ryan Swan starts 14th in the number 19 truck.
Another driver outside looking in 8 points from the cutoff line. Jordan Hurley is going to be lined up in 15th place, a little bit further back than I would expect for the 5 truck. Next to him, Danny Ware in the 00 in 16th.
17th place is Jordan Martin in the number 11, and Bobby Tinch starts 18th in the number 66 truck.
Back in 19th is going to be Christopher Tate in the 6 machine. Matthew Bell is going to be next to him in the number 9 truck in 20th place.
21st place is Josh Taylor in the number 57. Garrett Grant rolls off alongside him, 22nd in the 46 truck.
Yeah, 46 is going to have a long night ahead of him from that far back. Bryce Senexax is going to roll off in the 09 truck in 23rd place with AJ Roderick next to him in the 56 and 24th.
25th place is Alex Weaver's number 98. Shane Abbey starts 26th in the number 12.
Moving on back to 27 is going to be Cahill Holmes in the 41 machine. Jeff No in the 55, next to him in 28th.
29th place, Jeffrey Wilson in the number 85, and Tommy Ryan wraps up your 30-car grid. Quick look at the race analysis tonight. 120 laps is the race distance. That's about 181 miles. 30 drivers are going to be kicking off the green flag tonight. Altitude 2,000 feet up here in the Las Vegas desert. Time to go racing. Who you got winning this thing tonight, Finney? And I got my money on that number 67. I think he wins and finally gets it done, moves on to round 2 of the playoffs.
I'm just a man who wants to see something interesting happen, so I'm going to say the 21 Eric Wineland. He ran really good last week at IRP. His qualifying pace came out of nowhere. I think he's definitely got something special in the 21 truck tonight. I'm going to say he might be the one to take it home to victory lane.
Front row starter, he is on the pole. It is time to go racing. This is race 14 of the Area Truck Series season from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We eliminate 4 of our 12 playoff competitors after 120 laps of racing. And time to get it done. Green flag flies. We're racing in Las Vegas. .33 to the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 3. Here he comes. David Weishart steals the lead away from Eric Wineland. Wineland tries to power back on the outside as they come to the stripe. Who's going to lead lap 1? Weishart.
Yeah, Wyland was being a little bit too nice on the back straightaway, didn't block enough for the 33, and Weiser took advantage to get to that bottom lane to get ahead of the 21. Wyland trying to side draft though on the outside, going to try to get a run off the corner. He's got a great run on the back straightaway.
Oh, they touch! Banging doors, the 33 is almost on the apron as he gathers it up. Big time damage to the 21. I don't think they meant to do that, and Asogak is going to go around the outside. A frantic start here as the two leaders come together.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like they were both converging just on the same piece of racetrack. I think one was going up, one thought one was going down, and they met in the middle. So, but Wyland crucial for him. He led a lap. It's going to be one extra bonus point to his name. And Sogak trying to also get some crucial points because he needs every point he can get. He's going to rock around the outside of the 21 and take the lead.
Here comes Cameron Hearn, fourth up to second. To the outside of Anasogak as he drops to the bottom in the Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Nice crossover move here from the 67. To the bottom comes the 67 truck.
There he goes. He's going to try to get ahead of Anasogak. Will actually, I believe, lead that lap. Indeed, will do so by 16 thousandths of a second. And he will take the lead, clear the 88.
Not so fast, though. The 88's trying to get that upper hand here at the exit of turn number 2. Use that momentum on the outside lane. A little bit taller banking, progressive here from bottom to top, and that allows you to run faster in the upper groove. It's the longer way around, but it can allow you to maintain a higher corner speed, and that's what the 88's trying to do here.
I was going to say, definitely the outside lane's the place to be if you want to make some forward progress. And talking about forward progress, how about the 28 Travis Beckner started in 13th all the way up to 8th, up 8 spots to 5th. At the moment, trying to take 4th away from Cody Cutterer.
Got good grip on the bottom here on fresh tires. Slides up the 25, crosses over the 3 of Ryan Hartz. And here comes Hearn and Anasogak again into turn 3, still side by side for the top spot.
Either driver giving an inch here, and again with how much on throttle time these guys have, it's going to probably stay like this for quite a while. Neither driver willing to give up.
Fanning out in the background, no AJ Roderick in the 56, running 17th. He's up a couple spots here on the start. There's Jeff Ryan, 5 laps down, took a late start to this race. 31st now, a long way to move up from there. There's the 66 of Bobby Tinch. And now look at Weishart falling all the way down to 10th place with the damage, and the 25 to the bottom in turn 3 almost touches the 67.
Aggressive moves early on for some of these drivers, trying to make some forward progress. They're going to be especially careful of those late moves. Going to get a run, try to get a run back on the 67, sorry. As they're riding onto the front straightaway, and Anasogak was careful not to door down on the 25.
That was a big move down there into turn number 3. I think they might have actually touched a little bit. It was so close. Brad Slaughter Jr. kind of bringing up the tailpipes of this 8-truck battle here for the top spot at Las Vegas. Ryan Hartz is in the mix, following this group of 3 that has kind of been flying formation the last 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, we always talk about Wineland and Weiser making contact early on. They're running 11th and 12th at the moment and continuing to drop. Not sure if it's the damage that's hurting them or if they're just not able to find a groove. Not sure what it is for them, but both of them struggling severely.
That's a lot of damage on the 21's door. I know this the damage here can kind of vary in intensity based on where you got hit, but the left side is probably the least used part of the truck, but it's still kind of a lot of damage. And for Weishart, a much bigger deal is having the right corner and the right side of that truck torn up.
Oh, contact up with Anasogak and Cutterer, almost wrecking off at turn 4. Anasogak clipped the apron, went up, checked up, and hit the 25. Here's a look at your SimRat market replay on that.
Right here, just tags the apron, slip and slide, and there's the contact. Cutler did a good job to hang on to that, but that was a pretty frantic moment there. That allowed Hearn to kind of sprint away at least a car length for now.
Yeah, they were lucky that they touched at the door. Had it been any other part of the car, one car would have been hooked around. So close quarters with these guys coming off of turn 4 yet again, starting to somewhat simmer down. I wouldn't say that's necessarily the best wording for that as you look at Justin Munsell side by side with Colin Fambro.
Yeah, Munsell making good progress here, 12th to 7th. And looking for 6th if he can get around the 18 truck. He's got the outside lane, which is the place to be, as you mentioned. Last night, we kind of saw the bottom be pretty effective, but later in the race, the top side was the place to be, as we would typically expect here with this progressive banking at Las Vegas. But Cameron Hearn loves watching these two fight in the mirror. More racetrack for me.
I think he feels like he could probably break away if these guys continue to fight. He would love to break away and not have to worry about these guys slipstreaming back up to his rear bumper. Cutter getting a little bit loose. I'm getting worried when I see that truck twitch and start to walk up the hill. I'm sure for Anasogak he's nervous, but at this point, I think he's just trying to lay it all out there. He knows he needs a lot of points. He's just trying to finish as high as humanly possible.
Carver's not in the playoffs. How much do you battle this? He's got nothing to lose, that 25. The 88 could lose it all here.
I think that's kind of one of those things as a playoff driver. It's so tough because you want to tell these guys that are not in the playoffs to back off, but obviously everyone's sharing the racetrack. They're all fighting for the win, playoff or not. Oh, he's going to come up with him again, and Sogak not backing out.
Down the back straightaway, still door to door. They have not had a moment.
Oh, Justin Munsell out of the groove, entering turn 3. I think made contact with Beckner off.
Brad Slaughter Jr. will take advantage of that, move up into 7th place. I thought Brad Slaughter Jr. had a better run at IRP last week. Didn't end up having the best of runs ever, but managed to have a decent result in the end. At least made it to the finish. 25's off the apron here in turn 2, and these guys cannot get this sorted out.
No, they really can't. And Cameron Hurd, I think he knows that he's managing both lanes. He's giving Sogak just a little bit of a toe on the straightaways, and then Cutter gets a little bit more of a toe in the corners. And that's kind of keeping both of them even at the moment.
Bobby Tinch got a rear view mirror full of Jordan Martin's truck. That's the number 11. It's still a lot of door-to-door, even just outside of the top 10. You see Ryan Swan there battling Garrett Grant and James Scioli, who's kind of been stuck 12th all night, whether it's practice, qualifying, or the race.
Yeah, well, he went up. He started in 8th, remember, just dropped back to 12th. So I think he's going to have to hope to try to reverse his fortunes here in a little bit. Can't afford to really drop it back a whole lot of spaces.
No, he can't. Again, tonight he needs to have a really good result, pick up a lot of points. And it really, the finish is relative to the other playoff trucks. Now you look at right now, Scioli's got 5 or 6 playoff trucks ahead of him. That is not what you need when you need to gain points on playoff drivers. That requires finishing ahead of them. Beckner and Fambro almost had it coming together into turn 3.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of these late dives, especially often at turn 3, and you have to be so careful and hope that the truck ahead of you or on your outside doesn't cut you off when you try to make that move. So it's always a lot of give and take, especially early on.
Beckner goes to the middle of the road, Munsell to the outside, Fambro on the bottom. We haven't really seen a lot of 3 wide yet, and I don't know if the trucks have enough power to really rip that full outside lane to make 3 wide a real possibility, or at least where you can make speed. We saw lots of 3 wide in the Cup Series last night.
I think you could make 3 wide work, but it's going to be really tight quarters. Like you said, you're not going to be able to run that top groove. I think, like you mentioned, you're going to need a little bit more horsepower on the lid to do that. But I think if you run the upper middle lane, you could probably squeeze 3 trucks together, although that's asking for a caution at that point.
Oh, Fambro pushes up. He's got some understeer on the bottom there. Brad Slaughter Jr. is going to fill that gap to his outside and drag race him down into turn 3, 8 versus 18. 2 Chevrolets doing battle behind the Tundra of Munsell.
In fact, there's just a lot of Chevrolets in general. In fact, I think everyone but the Toyota Munsell is a Chevrolet in the top 10. Toyota's not doing too hot. Toyotas or Ford are not really doing too hot at the moment.
A lot of bow ties in this ballroom tonight.
Speaking of one Ford in particular, Eric Weiland, he's dropped all the way back to 26. It's not been a good start to the 21's night.
Well, it was a great start. That it just got truncated pretty quickly, and now he's back to 26th place. But as you noted, led a lap, which is pretty critical in terms of the points picture later tonight. So I know he'd like to run better, but maybe it's best to just kind of hang in there, wait for a caution, get some damage repair. Here's the challenge I could see. I know the racing's been pretty fierce, but we could go green for a while. We're already 19 laps into this. I mean, really a third of the way through a fuel run. We could go green for an entire fuel run if and when we do that. That totally changes the strategy for the race. We're going to spread the field out, and then the chances for cautions really diminish and make it hard to get track position back.
Yeah, it does go significantly down once the entire first pit stop sequence cycles through. And then I would say we gotten through the thick of it. Everyone seems like they're giving a decent amount of room. They're racing aggressively, like you mentioned, but they're giving each other enough room to work with here. And with the way these trucks are racing, they're not coming off the corner all into the same spot on exit. So I think that's also leading to less caution, less guys fighting over the same piece of racetrack. And that's where we usually see a lot of the wrecks occur. As I say that, guys, during the wall on the straightaway.
Yeah, it's Weishart and Swan that were kind of trading blows with the fence. Roderick squeezes up to the outside lane of the number 56. That was a wild move there. But Roderick picks up a couple of them. He started 24th. He's up to 14th.
trying to make up for a lackluster qualifying effort. Has done a good job to get himself up to the front part of the midfield.
One of the things we should have really mentioned when we saw the contact with the 33 and the 21 is how sensitive these trucks are to aero. This is an aero track when it comes to truck racing here. Not so much on the Cup side, but these trucks are almost at terminal velocity when they hit turn 1, and you're not lifting a lot in the corners, so any aero damage you're going to feel, and it's going to give you a disadvantage. It certainly is not going to help you, so regardless of how small the damage is, it's going to be a negative effect.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing exactly with Eric Wineland dropping all the way down the order. He needs to get that truck fixed as soon as possible. I mean, I think he's just kind of sitting there praying for a caution to happen. Although, like we mentioned, odds of it right now are not necessarily the best here, though that I say that. Side-by-side action with Justin Anasoga and Cody Cutterer in an identical paint scheme 25 machine.
And Travis Beckner, last week's winner, again, he is locked in to the round of 8. He just has to go up just for fun tonight, basically. It actually really didn't have to show up at all, but he's here and battling inside the top 5 and going to fill this hole on the upper groove past Cody Cutterer.
And actually, speaking of Jordan Hurley, he's had a pretty abysmal night so far. Started in 15th, he's back in 24th, so he's not made any forward progress whatsoever, so he's struggling to see him there. In behind Bobby Tinch in the 66.
Yeah, gone the wrong direction. He's got Eric Wineland behind him, Cahill Holmes in the 41. Jeff Noe in the 55. There's also the 37 of Jeff Ryan, who started this race from the pits and now 5 laps down. So he just didn't really get in here in time to take the green flag with everybody else, and he's going to be down the order quite a bit most of the night.
Yeah, and actually one guy, though, on the flip side is having a fantastic night so far. Garrett Grant in the 46. He started in 20 seconds, up 13 spots to 9th, which is critical because he is the last guy locked in, last guy in at the moment, sitting 8th in the playoffs, coming in 8 points ahead of Ryan Swan. He needed a decent result, and at the moment, he's doing pretty good in 9th and still trying to make some forward progress, looking to the outside of Colin Fambro.
Yeah, Fambro's a little bit understeery there in the middle of the corner. The front end is washing out. Grant's got a good run. He's not going to, he's going to get into the back of him and send the 18 into the wall, and that will let James Scioli take advantage, but he didn't want to jump to the inside. He knows the strength of that upper groove.
Of battling here, it's starting to die down just a little bit here, seeing these guys get more and more single file. Notably, Justin Anasoga, though, he's not been able to chase down the front and catch up to Cameron Hearn. Gap a little over a second between first and second.
That's what it looks like. 1 second, 1 Mississippi, bam, second place. Past the camera there on the back straightaway. Ryan Hart's still right behind and kind of hugging that white line. He's rim riding, but the inside rim, not the outside.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to make sure he gets some clean air in the corner, as you talked about, the importance of aerodynamics here. You're going to face a little bit of dirty air if you stay right up tucked in behind the truck in front of you. So Hart's just trying to get some clean air, and so trying to get the momentum out of the corner to try to see if he can catch up to the 67, although Hart's is starting to mount more of an attack in the corners.
James Scioli is just getting some forward drive going in this run. His progress went backwards in the early part of this race, but he's finally starting to recover. And with this pass on the 18, if he could get it done, that would return him to where he started.
Yeah, well, with the way everyone's running at the moment, he's going to have to be, looks like he might have to come home with the win here tonight in order to secure that spot. It's unfortunate because his main competitor for that last spot is leading the race, Cameron Hearn with 67.
Who did I pick to win the race?
I am actually forgetting. I don't know who you.
A rhetorical question. This guy.
Oh, was Cameron? I honestly forgot who you did pick.
Well, that didn't work as good as I was expecting it to. But
we can forget who I picked.
Yes. I mean, it's still early in this race. I just like the single truck speed that Hearn has. And it hasn't really been dependent on everyone battling around him. He just kind of took that lead and drove away. Here's Bryce Senesac in the 09, right behind A.J. Roderick, who's jumped up to 14th and then kind of stalled out there. And Senesac up 8 spots from where he started, now trying to push some pressure on the back of that Elwood Designs 56.
Yeah, you guys have made some solid progress little by little up through the order. Of course, Seidenfein sitting right behind them, and Seidenfein dropping down a few spots. He started in 10th, is down to 16th at the moment. Not a huge drop, but just running in the midfield.
This is a replay back from lap number 20, about 10 laps ago, of AJ Roderick making up ground on the 33. Watch this. Right up around the outside and got around Senesac that way. That was about 10 laps ago. Senesac trying to bring the party back to the outside of the 56. This time out of turn 2, looks like he's going to get it. And Seidenfeiden's going to carry some momentum and try to do the same.
Let's see if he can slip his way on through. Looking to the outside, AJ Roderick now. Senesac clear of the 56 on the inside. Seidenfeiden looking for the outside lane on the 09 off the corner. Can't quite get there, but we'll get a great run on Roderick on the inside.
Oh, Weishart too. Is he going to follow in the tire tracks of the 45 and 09? It will.
Yeah, Weishart can use some forward progress. He's been slowly trickling back. He's back in 17th at the moment after getting that damage with Wineland that's been hurting both trucks. But now has finally been able to make a pass on Roderick. Now looking at Seidenfeiden for 15th place.
Wineland is now 28th. If there was any doubt as to whether or not that damage was hurting him, remember he qualified on pole for this race and had really good speed. And now that damage combined with the track position he initially lost has compounded, and he finds himself almost the last driver on the lead lap fighting for it with the 6 and the 85. So pit stops coming in the next 20 laps or so, I'd imagine. But if you can make it to lap 60, you would one-stop this, but it feels like that's a little far to go.
Yeah, it is seeming quite a bit. Looking at the lap times for these guys, everyone's running just about 1.2, 1.3 seconds off their fastest time from the start of the race.
And on board with Ennis Ogak, just listen to the engine, the tone of the engine here into turn 3. A lift, and then right back into it as Ryan Hartz goes by on the bottom. But you're off throttle for a second and then right back in it. So carrying momentum and taking care of the tires is of the utmost importance tonight.
And Ryan Hartz now up into second place. See if he has any better luck at chasing down the 67 of Cameron Hearn, who's been untouched pretty much since the drop of the green flag. In fact, how many laps has Cameron Hearn led so far? I want to say it's 30 plus.
Hearn has led 32. Ryan Hartz, though, was faster and actually the fastest truck on the racetrack last time by. So let's keep an eye on those times. The 67 this time at 31.81, 31.83 for Ryan Hartz. So a little quicker to the 67 that time through. Eric Grant still working forward past the 18 and now has the 25 in sight.
He's been kind of stuck in 8th place at the moment. That forward progress has been halted. Now trying to find his way around Cutterer as Cutterer looks at the outside. Grant looking just a little bit to the inside, trying to get a little bit of tow and also a little bit of clean air to get that truck rotated, but the progress has stalled.
Now Munsell kind of washed up the track out of 4. And Cutterer caught the 20 into turn 1 here, so it's going to stack him up and almost a touch there from corner to corner on the 46 to the 25. But Grant's a little quicker, I think. He's got this big run, but I don't think going to the bottom is the right way to take it. So he's going to sit in behind the 25 and wait for an opportunity to jump to the outside, but Cutterer's not falling for it.
Oh, but he's going to go down to the inside, try to get a run off the corner, also do a little bit of side drafting as well to slow down the 25. Whoa, almost contact down the front straightaway between both of them.
Yeah, now that this is the challenging part for Grant. He's got to complete this, and he knows that he's going to rub the 25, send him up the track, and get the pass done. I think he had to do that, Finney. If he got stuck on the bottom there, he would have lost a spot, maybe 2, because Scioli and Fambro are right behind and would have driven around him on the outside lane.
Yeah, Grant getting his elbows out, trying to get the job done. Again, he's a guy that needs every point he can get because Cameron Hearn at the moment, he's going to be locked in, and that would bump Garrett Grant out without accounting for any of the other drivers, and this is a surprise.
Early, I thought, and Seidenfeiden will follow him down earlier than I would have expected, but 40 laps in, they're just going to split this into 3 equal segments. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm curious to see how much further everyone else can go.
Probably further, but just mathematically.
I'm hearing more guys coming down. I hear David Weishart. I think Ennis Ogak coming down.
Yep.
Not quite sure.
Well, no, he bailed out. I think he was on.
Oh, no, sorry. I heard him getting the radio to exchange positions with Travis Beckner.
Here comes Matthew Bell and Weishart, as you mentioned. But again, this mathematically makes sense. If you can't make it all the way to halfway, split it into 3 equal segments and just use the tires up equally each run. So that makes a lot of sense. And so we can expect your next pit stops to be at lap number 80. But what this is going to do, remember how challenging it is to get onto pit lane? If we get through this sequence, Finian, we could go green the rest of this race pretty easily.
I'm hearing more and more drivers jumping on the radio.
Whoa, back straightaway.
Coming down. Oh, some guys getting into contact in turn 3. Will they save it? It looks like they will. What on earth happened?
There's a look at it on the Simrat Market replay right here. The 57 and 41, they get caught together. And the 12 of Shane Abbey, great saves by everybody involved there.
Notable guys coming down. Ryan Hartz, Travis Beckner, Justin Munsell coming in for their first stops of the day.
Cameron Hearn will probably...
Munsell didn't get in his box. Going to be a little bit slow on the 20 machine. Here comes race leader.
Yep, I was going to say he had to follow suit shortly, and he will come on down. So mathematically, this makes perfect sense. You know, the driver that didn't want to see this start to happen was the 21 of Eric Wineland, because this means that we have a much higher shot of this race going green to the end now that we're into our green flag sequence, and the 21 really needed a caution to fix that damage and get a little bit of a reset here.
Here's to see what we're going to do. Weiland is yet to come in. He stayed out on the track. Here's to see, will he stay out longer, just kind of hoping that there's going to be a caution with everyone getting up to speed and being on fresh tires. And notably, Justin Asoka has also stayed out. He's going to come in a little, almost thought a little bit late there, but we'll slow down in time. There's Cutterer coming in as well.
Jordan Martin coming down to pit lane, and this is almost going to complete the cycle. There's only a couple of drivers left. Allman, Swan, Hurley, Ryan, and Weaver.
Pit stop sequence is still going on. It's been a trickle of drivers coming down to pit lane. We haven't seen massive groups. Pretty much about 5 or 6 drivers every circuit have come on down. I expect to see Hallman and everyone else to come down relatively shortly. I think from the looks of it, it seems like they can't be out there much longer.
Ooh, he's in there really hot. Can he get it slowed down? Here comes the 5 of Hurley. He gets it slowed down as well. Nicely done. Ryan Swan will pick up a lap lead. Pretty critical for his playoff run. Remember, he's one of those drivers on the bubble.
Notably, Eric Weiland is yet to come in, as well as the rest of the top 6. They have still yet to come in. Mostly guys that were running outside the top 20, except for Ryan Swan. He was running a little bit higher up, around 15th, 14th place. Yeah,
Weiland's even got hood damage from that incident, which is probably what's slowing him down so much. And this is one of those critical moments in a season, Finian, where if you can commit to staying out and trying to benefit from a caution and win massively or lose massively in that scenario, or you could just kind of follow what everyone else is doing and kind of keep yourself in this kind of somewhat bad scenario. I don't know that I would fully commit to this just yet. I think I would have come in by now and just hope that you get a caution pretty soon into the next run. But he is probably going to end up a lap down after all this.
I think he was just kind of hoping that there would be more wrecks and stuff going on with the fresher guys on fresh tires coming in, but the guys that have yet to come in, I think he's hoping there'll be some sort of chaos, as there's actually 3 wide. James Scioli 3 wide with Tommy Ryan, Cameron Hearn heading off into turn 1. There you can see there's some chaos. It's exactly what Wineland wants to see.
Yeah, Wineland would love these guys to tangle up right now, but fresh tires, everyone's trucks are driving really good right now after they were driving very poorly at the end of the last run.
Oh, caution out!
Oh, there it is! Wow, somebody's upside down. It's Christopher Tate tumbling down the back straightaway, and Eric Wineland just breathed a huge sigh of relief. There is 20 trucks a lap down.
Well, we're at Vegas. Sometimes you have to gamble, and luckily for Wineland, he gambled right. We'll see what happened here. There's got to be some catastrophic incident to cause a car to launch that high in the air. Did he go off the nose of Danny Ware?
Yeah, just like he was already loose. Oh my gosh!
Oh!
4. The 56 of AJ Roderick got a big piece of that. I think he was one of the drivers that kind of caught the tail end of that. But this is, oh man.
You know, I know the Super Bowl is still a ways, times a little bit ways out.
That was a heck of a kickoff. Bobby Tinch up underneath. Wonder what he saw in all that. We're going to find out. That's what we do here.
I was going to say, I don't think he was expecting to see the car land in front of him.
Oh, man. Holy cow. And, of course, A.J. Roderick got involved in this, and that truck is terminally damaged, and not much he could have done here. Oh, he did he get net coated after all that?
I think he might have. Because I was going to say, I don't remember exactly how he got involved.
Yeah, just got net coated.
Oh, severe net code.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. For those that aren't familiar with what net code is, everyone's racing from all over the country on internet connections that are, some of them are fine, some of them are not. iRacing has to predict where your car is going to be a couple hundred milliseconds from now in order to race. Sometimes that prediction is wrong, especially in high-speed scenarios like that. And that prediction was very wrong for one of the car positions, and Roderick got the short end of the stick there. That will be the end of the night for the 56. So this is a massive reset. Trapped a whole bunch of trucks a lap down. They were going to take the wave around. But for the 21 of Eric Wineland, that was a huge moment. Now, that could be season saving. I don't think I can overstate that enough. The damage is still going to exist. That truck is still going to be hurt. I don't think you can fix all of it. But it kept him from going a lap down. And it'll also gain him some track position back. And if there was any damage repairs he could do, he now has time to get them done.
Yeah, and he didn't even lose that many positions with all this because he's still in ninth because there's a huge amount of guys who need to take the wave around still. So he's fixing his truck up and he'll be starting midfield, and I think he's going to try to fix up as much as humanly possible. He's going to come straight back down to pit lane. I actually heard him also when the caution came out, to tell you how low he was on gas. As soon as the caution came out, he clutched it in and was coasting to try to just save fuel for the pace lap because he was that low on fuel.
He's still doing that right now. He's thinking ahead if you're in the scenario again that you've got a little bit of extra in the tank. Though Wineland in a real good position now, or at least better than he was. It'll take a moment to kind of reset things here before we get back into the swing of things on this next run. Our replay sponsor tonight is SimWrap Market. Fans, be sure to check out simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. And be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. And be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. There's a Rick's Hot Sauce sponsored truck. It's leading the race right now. It's Ryan Hartz in command of the field.
And the other Rick's Hot Sauce cars is right behind him in second, so they're 1-2 at the moment. So a good day for Rick's Hot Sauce at the moment. I'm sure they'd love for it to finish this way. In fact, these two trucks have finished 1-2 quite a few times this season.
Are they different flavors here, or are they just different?
I believe so. They're supposed to represent different flavors. I don't know if it necessarily says it on it.
I like a spicy red pepper and then like a jalapeno?
Yeah, or I was thinking like a lime, kind of.
Jalapeno lime.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, well, first caution. Was that our first caution of the night? Man,
yes,
things go by quick. Here's a look at our race recap. 71 laps to go. We've completed 49. Had one caution, 5 different leaders, 8 lead changes. A lot of those leaders happened under the pit sequence. It was the 67 of Cameron Hearn that was leading prior to that. He's going to lose some track position in this, but he will restart P5, so not the end of the world. Eric Wineland is now scored in 8th place right there, and the damage doesn't look a whole lot better, but one can hope that the repairs he was able to make helped at least a little bit.
Oh, I think it's definitely going to help a lot, especially he fixed it. Looks like he fixed actually quite a bit of the damage on the hood. At least he kind of streamlined it out, get the sledgehammers out and just start beating on it, make it a little bit more streamlined, and especially also if there's any engine damage too, I think would have been able to repair that. So the 21 truck is going to be looking in hopefully a lot better shape here as everyone's catching up here. Most of the field single file.
Do you remember the old NASCAR Racing 2003 season when you come to pit lane and you'd hear the sounds of the hammering?
Oh yeah, and them beating on it.
And you could see
some of the mods too. You'd hear the chainsaws going as well.
Oh man, throwback Tuesday. 70 laps to go here at the restart. The Area Truck Series playoff elimination race. A lot of single file trucks from the wave around. We're back under green. Shane Abbey, Danny Ware, a lap down or more. Tate Roderick and Jeff Ryan out of the race. Cahill Holmes in that group too.
They're getting up to speed real quick into the outside lane, struggling at the moment.
Didn't have anybody out of there.
Turn 2.
There were so few drivers in the outside lane.
Yeah.
Didn't have a way to build momentum.
Here comes Cameron Hearn to the inside of Travis Beckner. Tommy Ryan working on the outside of Ryan Hartz. Haven't talked a whole about the 99 tonight so far. Back from 30th position. Was one of the last guys to take the green flag. Now fighting for the lead.
3 wide as the 67 splits the difference into turn 1. 3 abreast for the top spot. Scioli spectating from 4th. Oh, the 3 slides up in front of the 67. They touch through 1 and 2.
Yeah, how about James Scioli, too, has been mostly a non-factor here as Cameron Hearn and Tommy Ryan are going to door each other. They're going to go 3 wide again into turn 3. Late dive by Cameron Hearn to the inside.
This is wild stuff. 3 wide for the top spot here in Las Vegas. Hart's trying to hold the middle. Beckner going to give the 3 a shove. Teamwork there in the middle groove.
Look at them 3 abreast still. Travis Beckner almost gave a little bit too much of a shove to Ryan Hartz. Almost sent him into Tommy Ryan again. Still 3 wide heading off into turn 1. Now it's Ryan, Beckner, and Seidenfeiten, I believe, to the inside. Yeah, Seidenfeiten in the 45. He's having a much better day now after that reset.
Still tight stuff here into turn 3. Hearn was almost clear of the 3. Now I believe he is clear. He can just slide up and take the position. Hearn back to the top spot here, lap 54. But Scioli, Hartz, and Ryan, they're not done yet.
Oh, they're definitely not done yet. They're going to, again, these guys are fighting. Remember, they're on the outside. They're 11th and 12th in the points. They're trying to get into the top 8. Best way to do this is to get a win. So that's what they're fighting for now at the top of the order.
And only one of them can win. They both really could use it. Easier for Hearn to point in than Scioli, but it's still going to be a big challenge for either of them to do that. The 99 sent backwards with that corner, and Seidenfeiten moves forward in the 45 of P4.
Yeah, I was going to say they're definitely going to need it because at the moment, Eric Wineland and Garrett Grant are running pretty well, both pretty much inside the top 10. Garrett Grant now just dropping back to 11th, so they're going to kind of have to hope for that win. It's still chaotic in behind them, double file. There's Beckner, and also Eric Wineland. You can tell Eric Wineland, that truck looking a lot better. He's still in this fight. Yeah,
Eric Wineland really doesn't want to see the 7 or 67 win this race, and Scioli just took the lead away from Hearn in turn 3 that time. But Wineland is in real trouble if one of these 2 lead trucks wins this race tonight, and it might have all been for that caution strategy there that he just played out.
Cameron Hearn trying to tuck back in behind Scioli in the middle, 1 and 2 to get a run off the corner to attack. And behind them, Seidenfeiten still putting up a heck of a charge, trying to fight up with these guys. He's going to try to get past Ryan Hartz as we go side by side for the lead.
Cameron Hearn again to the inside, and they've traded spots like this a couple of times. This time, though, Seidenfeiten loose out of turn 4.
Whoa, Travis Beckner and Ryan dooring each other in the background, almost wrecking each other early exit.
Leaning on each other here. Closing in on the halfway point of this race. It's going by quickly. The 45 is super sideways. Hartz didn't like that. Jumps up to the outside group to go the long way around.
How about Alex Weaver as well, also putting his nose into this fight. Currently sitting in 7th place. Haven't mentioned him all night long. Trying to battle it up here with the guys near the front, trying to see if he can get a win.
And a Sogak sideways in turn 3. Caution out.
One of the guys that needs to race their way in, and one of the guys that had such a good night so far. Damage on his truck as he was near the back of the order when it happened.
And the 5 and the 85 to his in. Oh, what? Is the server in Australia tonight? What's going on?
Well, yeah, so it was claiming he got hit by Jordan Hurley's internet.
It wasn't even close. I have not seen netcode that bad in a while. I have to imagine that somebody's ping. Well, the 5 was blinking in and out there, Finian.
He was blinking out. He's kind of had a history of that.
Well,
his internet has been quoted in the past.
Oh boy.
Especially by the man leading the race.
Yeah, that was there was a lot of feet between those 2 trucks.
Oh, yeah, there's an entire lane between those 2. That was, like you said, that's the worst netcode I've seen in a long time.
All right, so drivers on pit lane, they felt like they've run long enough to require a pit stop. And no reason not to. You got plenty of sets of tires in here for the night, so you might as well take this opportunity. This is pretty much everybody, so we'll see what pans out here.
Especially if anyone makes any mistakes, too. That could be big.
Everyone got into their boxes pretty well. Any 2-tire calls for these trucks? Munsell maybe? No, Munsell, I think everyone took 4.
Yeah, I would say you kind of want to just get 4. I don't think you want to take 2 this early on. I think on a late race restart, I think that could help.
Munsell did take 2.
He did. One of the few guys to take two. Jordan Hurley, also another notable driver to take two tires, trying to just move up some spots because Hurley was in the back of the field for quite a long time.
Interesting. How the turntables.
Indeed, how the turntables. I also hear a lot of guys clutching now.
Yeah, well, this is, look at where we are in the lap count here. They couldn't make it to lap 60. Otherwise, they would have done that initially. But now that you're posed with a 59, 58 lap run to the end once we go back green, if you can save some fuel now, you might be able to stretch it. I don't know that I would even bother because I'm pretty confident, based on the aggression level that we've seen on these restarts, that as we get closer to the end of this race, now the chance for a kind of a stack up on the restart is a lot higher than it was when we had a 20, 30, 40 lap run at the beginning of the race. So I think there's going to be another caution at least now that we've had this caution in particular. But I wouldn't have bet on that had we gone green just now.
No, I wouldn't either, but I think these guys just kind of hope that they did. Sorry, I was looking at something else. My brain's not working. Give me
yeah. Okay. Well, let's collect your thoughts
rephrase my thought. No, but I think these guys are just gonna kind of run it out and just kind of hope for the best because there's no reason to not save fuel, right? So I think they're just gonna hope if there's a caution that comes out later, depending on where it comes, they may not want to come back in and just stay out, save that extra gas that they've been saving under this caution. Also of note, Eric Weiland speeding on pit lane. He's come back in again, I think, to top off on fuel since he's already going to get an EOL. So came back in to top off the 21 truck.
How's my web timing looking?
Looking good. There's been some times where I had to just kind of give it the old refresh to reset it, but nope. I think I might have stopped now.
I have any errors in my error window? I do.
Oh. What's it say? Or can you check it out?
Failed to update web timing. Collection was modified. Enumeration operation may not execute.
Don't know what the heck that means.
Huh.
Last recorded lap 60.
Oh, it okay. Interesting.
So it just happened.
Well, I just it like wiped my configuration too.
Well, that's no good.
Well, I'm gonna reboot it. It'll work now. Right?
Yes, sir. It's working.
All right. Well, interesting that we've learned some things tonight. Working better than it did, I'll tell you that.
No, it has been working for the most part. The only issue I think has been that sometimes you just kind of leave it sitting there. You have to refresh it to get the timer going again. But other than that, it worked.
So field is getting set up to restart. The 7 of Scioli is your leader. Justin Munsell will be alongside him on 2 tires. Cameron Hearn will restart third. Seidenfeiden, Hart, Speckner, Weaver, No, Hurley, and Brad Slaughter Jr. The rest of your top 10. Drivers that are out of the race at this stage. What happened to Tommy Ryan?
I do not know.
Tommy Ryan out of the race in 26th.
Manually disconnected.
Danny Ware, Christopher Tate, AJ Roderick, Jeff Ryan, and Cahill Holmes also out of the race. We have 25 trucks on the track. 24 of them are on the lead lap. The only one not on the lead lap is Justin Anasogak. He is 2 laps down, and remember, he is a playoff competitor, so he's got big incentive to get those laps back. Here we go, lap 62 back underway. Is it a fuel mileage race to the end? Green flag.
On the verge of it being a fuel mileage race, it's also a 3-lane race at the moment into turn 1 as a cross-turn restart. Oh, and immediately there's a 25 going around, and his teammate's going to collect him, and they're still wrecking on the apron as the caution flies for the 3rd time tonight.
All right, so everyone's going to immediately shut the engine off and push the clutch in because they're going to use this opportunity to.
And so this is exactly what I was talking about, right?
Yes. So let's go back and see. It was kind of big tangled mess back here. Bit of a stack up there in the middle groove. The 42 of Hallman gets split here, gets into the 11. Oh, he's going to tag the 25 and send him around. The 9 of Matthew Bell in it. Really not anything that the 25 did wrong. He was just a victim in that. And then the 85 gets into it. But then you mentioned the more drivers on the apron. That was just the 42 and the 9 that were already involved. I think he gets spooked by the 11, turns left.
Yeah.
And then that's what happens.
I was going to say, he's surrounded on side. Ryan Swan's now sneaking his way on through. One playoff driver that definitely needs to get some solid points. So Eric Wineland also managed to make his way on through somehow through that mess.
That was
he's basically part.
That was one of the things I was worried about when we saw that crash happen. Wineland, again, took the opportunity on pit lane a couple of times to, I think, top off. And here he comes again. Yeah. So he knows something everyone else is ignoring right now.
Well, I think he figured also, since he's near the back anyway, you know, he's running 18th. He figured he's going to lose a few spots. Just coming top off of gas. Doesn't have to worry about it.
I don't think he wants to worry about much else tonight. He's had plenty to worry about. So into the box he will go. Take this opportunity. Fans, be sure to check out the area iRacing.shop website for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from the selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. You can use code SWANN, S-W-A-N-N, for 10% off your order at checkout. That's area iRacing.shop. We'll take a moment and we'll jump to break. We'll be back for the restart here in just a moment. Stick with us. The Area Truck Series playoffs continue next week from Auto Club Speedway with the round of 8. 8 drivers on the season that have worked as hard as they can and won as many races as they can stack up in the win column and vie for a chance at a championship. Tonight, though, we eliminate 4 of the original 12 that were in the playoffs after the tail end of the regular season. It's Las Vegas Motor Speedway tonight, and we're 64 laps in to our 120-lap event. James Scioli and Cameron Hearn at the bottom of the order in terms of the standings coming into the night. They are almost in must-win scenarios, Finian, and right now they're doing everything in their power to get there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they're both near the top of the order, running 1-2 at the moment, trying to secure that win. You also got guys like Eric Wineland trying to just secure their spot, but struggling at the moment back in 20th place. Guys like Justin Sogak, currently 2 laps down. He's looking the worst of. Actually, sorry, he got one of those laps back on his caution. Now 1 lap down. Ryan Swan just got through that wreck. He's kind of in the midfield hanging out. Garrett Grant, similar story. He's up in 10th place at the moment. So a lot of guys near that cutoff, they're trying to just find their footing, find their place here as we're winding down the laps on this, entering the second half of this race here and getting ready for the restart.
55 laps to go, 54 at the restart. We've had a trio of cautions, most recently for the 25 and 42 coming together in turn 1. That has resulted in the 25 being out of the race. Now just 24 drivers left rolling, 22 of them on the lead lap. Justin Sogak and Jeffrey Wilson a lap down. 6 leaders, 12 lead changes. Cameron Hearn, I believe, has led the most laps tonight, 43 of 66. James Scioli, though the most recent leader, he has led 9 and continues to lead. Ryan Hartz has a couple. Justin Munsell doesn't have any, but there is a couple other drivers that have snuck up there towards the front that have stolen a few laps as well, including Eric Wineland, who's led 2. That was critical because the damage he sustained in that battle with David Weishart early on, and for them it has been kind of a miserable race since then, although Wineland got thrown a bone, staying out under a green flag pit sequence. Caution came out and kind of saved the day for the 21.
Yeah, and I think Anasogic's also got a lap led. He's still trying to fix up his 88 truck, and he's also got to worry about just getting a lap back at the moment. But I think at this point in time, there might be a solid chance of another yellow coming out. We'll see how long it takes, though. His pace truck's about to turn off.
Pace truck peels off. 54 laps to go here for the Area Truck Series playoffs. Round number 14 of the season. This is round 2 of 5 of the playoffs. Green flag back in the air from Las Vegas and Sin City. Ryan Hart's around the outside. Big run from the number 3. He's trying to get another win here on the season and now has a push from the 67. Hearn drops to the middle, and we're going to go 3 wide again for the lead.
Oh boy, it's getting dicey early on here. 3 wide heading on for the turn on. Ryan Hart's on the outside, Hearn in the middle. Scioli on the inside. All these guys fighting tight quarters here. Neither one wants to give.
The 2 drivers on the inside almost need to win. The 3 does not, but he's getting a push from the 28 into turn 3. That's going to help Ryan Hart's nose ahead here through turns 3 and 4. If this race goes green to the end, it's just 27 minutes from here to the checkered flag, and the intensity level rises every time we cross that checkered stripe.
Yeah, and hearing some guys been getting or gaming the start, some drivers complaining about it too, keeping updated, especially on that last race that caused the wreck. So hearing some drivers complaining about it, some drivers doing it again on this restart and calling out to the admins, but still double foul near the top of the order.
It's so tight right now that you're looking for every advantage, and on the restarts, that's an easy spot to grab track position. Think back to last night in the Cup Series race. Seth Noel on the very drop of the green flag, gaining 6 spots before turn 1. Everybody's trying to kind of bend the rules a little bit in their favor, and I can totally see it. With 50 laps to go, you taking every opportunity and maybe forcing the call on a restart jump, Finney, and that's a position that you got to take sometimes. You got to make the officials call it and be as aggressive as you can and hope that you get a warning first.
Well, I mean, hey, if it isn't a rule, there's nothing to really break, right? So I think that, like you said, that the drivers try to force the admin's hands to say something about it. Until they say something about it, they're going to continue to do it because it's an advantage, and especially with the situation some of these guys are in, they need every advantage they can get.
Dead even heat through 1 and 2 for the 3 and the 67. Scioli's going to drop back to 4th on the back straightaway. Scioli wants up. He can't get there. Beckner fills the gap. And Travis Beckner, remember, he is already locked in. He already has a victory. So he is good to the next round. Behind them, it's 3 wide. The 33 of Weishart trying to recover his day. He went backwards quickly early because of that contact with with Eric Wineland. But the 33 has recovered really nicely. The 21, again, different little bit of a strategy here, but he's back in 20th place, or they're about 18th.
And notably, Justin Anasoga has come back down to pit lane severely off the pace. Not sure what happened to his truck, but he's come down to pit lane again. I'm not sure if it's for repairs or retire the truck, but he's severely struggling. It's safe to say that 88 truck's going to be out of the running for now. One driver is out of the running, the 67 of Cameron Hearn, trying to get that lead back on Hartz. He needs the win. Good, and he's fighting hard for going to dive into the inside in turn 1.
It's good for Wineland that the 88 is out. That's another truck. But again, if the 67 or 7 wins, that drastically changes the playoff picture for the 21 truck. So he's going to have to hope that someone like Ryan Hartz or Travis Beckner wins again tonight instead of a driver that's below Wineland in the playoff points right now.
Yeah, he's going to be a cheerleader for Hartz and Beckner to get themselves up to the front. Cameron Hearn, though, has been fighting tooth and nail this entire race and going to squeeze himself between Beckner and Hartz to get single file and is trying to force Hartz into a mistake here.
And Beckner's got his hands full of Justin Munsell, slams the door shut. Now Hearn to the bottom on the back straightaway, side by side for the race lead again. And he's got it.
Munsell can do anything. Haven't really seen anything out of the 20 for the most part of the time. He's been fairly quiet. Remember, too, Justin Munsell, he, on the last pit stop, came in for 2 tires.
And he's not in the playoffs. He's got nothing to lose by racing up here aggressively.
Whoa, gets a little bit tight in turns 1 and 2, comes up almost into Ryan Hartz and Beckner. Aggressively trying to hold out Beckner from going around on the outside here for Ryan Hartz. Speaking on the outside, it's going to be the outside of 67.
Another truck that's creeping into the picture. There's 2 trucks, actually, the 8 and the 46. Garrett Grant and Brad Slaughter Jr. both having the best run of their evening. And kind of showing up at the right time to be a part of this battle here at the end. But Munsell really is the wild card in this mix, and showing that 2 tires on a situation like we just saw, not a bad strategy here, but how will that play in the longer run?
Yeah, it's really going to be the big issue here. I think on a later run, I think definitely you want to go with 2 tires. Might be a little early on here as Beckner throws an aggressive block on James Scioli.
And Seidenfeiden right at the tailpipes of the 46 in the backdrop, though. Hartz is going to try the bottom this time.
And you mentioned Garrett Grant, another driver that really does not want Cameron Horner and James Scully to win this race, because he's in that final position to be locked in P8. So at the moment, I think he's ahead of Wineland as they're running points, but that's just something he would rather not deal with.
Dustin Munsell, he thought about it, but he lifted. 28 will drop to the bottom. Now Garrett Grant fighting with Scioli. That's for 5th place.
3 wide behind them. Fambro, Slaughter, Weaver heading off into turn 4, and almost 3 wide again in behind them as they're all fighting for position here.
This pack is gaining a lot of momentum. They're not laden by all the trucks they had before, so they can race pretty aggressively and draft and get pretty high speed here without the danger of crashing, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try 3 wide. The 8 of Brad Slaughter Jr. going backwards here in the middle of this group.
Up ahead of them, Munsell looking to the outside of Beckner, or not Beckner, sorry, Ryan Hartz. Has gotten past Beckner, trying to look to the outside. Hartz couldn't quite get there, still trying to mount a charge. Hartz doing everything he can to make that truck as wide as possible to keep him in bind.
Have to wonder where we are on fuel. Will that extra caution be enough for drivers to make it? I think I'm a lot more comfortable having that accident slow us down than going green from the previous caution, but I still don't know that everybody's truly safe. I know that the 21's better on fuel than everybody else, but not by that much more.
No, not by that much more. I mean, we don't quite know how much is going to come down to. Really, it's going to depend on how much these guys burn by the end. Curious to see if we see any of you guys cut this final run in half, come down pit lane, maybe get some tires while they're at it as well. Curious to see how guys are going to plan on attacking this last stint if we do go green all the way.
So it's interesting when you look at the situation right now. We're coming to 40 laps to go. We've been on track for 21. That'd be going 60 laps on tires, but really only about 50 of those are going to be under green. So that's not that crazy. That's only 10 laps more than we went the first run. So that's a huge consideration here, Finian, is the tire wear, and it's not going to be that much more than we had our first run. Will anybody split the stint in half? I'm sure they will, but if you can make it to the end, I think you're going to give it a try.
Yeah, like we mentioned, Wineland currently sitting in the best spot because came in to top off on fuel a few times. So if anyone's good on gas, it's that 21 machine. However, he's lost the pack. He's running 9 seconds in behind, got caught by Shane Abbey and held up by a few cars. So they're in a completely separate group. Now just coming off.
Oh, look out, the 33 and the 19 in the wall.
Oh, Swan.
That's a playoff competitor, too. Here's a look at it. The 33 kind of runs into the back of the 7 and then checks up. And that's going to be some damage for Ryan Swan, similar to what the 33 had himself.
And interesting, Jordan Hurley had some words about the 33. Didn't like the way he was racing, felt that was his fault for that.
Interesting.
And funny enough, they're running nose to tail at the moment. Funny how that works.
Pressure runs high here at Las Vegas, especially in a playoff context. Your entire season comes down to just a couple moves, and sometimes they're not your own. Scioli, though, remember, he's the one worse off in the points picture, and right now he's fading in this run. Here's Matthew Bell. He was in that crash a couple cautions ago on the apron. Yeah. He's recovered actually pretty nicely back in the top 10.
Surprised to see that he has recovered so nicely.
Not a lot of damage on the truck from what I can see. Just a little bit of hood damage. But the rest of the truck looks pretty good.
The picture should be proud of fixing that up. Because it looked like he took a few decent hits. Definitely not enough. Definitely enough to keep him outside the top 10, but they fixed that up enough to get back out there and be somewhat competitive. Speaking of competitive, up near the front, Beckner trying to work around Justin Munsell. Munsell looks like he might be starting to fade out. Remember, that 2-tire call could be potentially biting him at this point.
Yeah, I don't know that Munsell was planning on going to the end of the race.
He's pitting.
All right.
I thought I heard him say something about pitting, but I thought I just misheard on the radio, but yeah, he's coming to pit, so.
And so is the 19. Interesting. We'll see what other dominoes fall here in the next couple of laps. This is a good distance, 35 to go or so. No, yeah, that's right, 35 to go.
Yeah.
Not a bad time to come if you're going to come.
Well, who's going to come? Oh, James Scioli coming on the radio. He's coming into pit lane this time by.
So floodgates opened. So that means that we're going to see pit stops here before the end of this race. That means that there's going to be some strategy involved as to when you cup. So we're not going to. I feel like the Fox Sports announcers right now, by the way. I got to stop using that term. As Cameron Hart and Ryan Hartz work their way through 1 and 2. When are you going to hit pit lane? If you're Ryan Hartz and Cameron Hearn, I think you got to hit pit lane together.
I think so. I'm not sure they're willing to go down there together as right now. They're fighting really aggressively for position between the both of them, which is amazing because they're fighting so hard, and yet they still manage to eke a solid gap out to Beckner and company.
Seidenfeiten's hitting pit lane. So what I mean by they should pit together is because if you pit first, the other guy's going to stay out a little longer and have better
Eric
tires.
Wineland's coming down the pit lane.
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, what are you going to do, right? I just, if I was, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. If he came down to pit lane, then no one's going to make it.
Yeah, I think that strategy probably died as soon as they got back on throttle and realized how much fuel they're burning. I just don't think that. We saw 40 laps as the first run. You had to go 60-something. Too much of a push, I think. But I thought we would see closer to like 50, 52, 55 lap fuel runs, and we could maybe save 5 laps, but that might have been too aggressive.
Might be too much for some of these guys. I'm curious to see if anyone is going to bite. Maybe they feel they can make it. Might not actually be able to make it, but they might feel that if they save enough, if they're careful enough, might be able to save enough gas. Because I figured, with the amount of guys, especially the names we've seen come down to pit lane, we would see some more takers, but majority of the field still stays out. The entire top 16 have yet to pit.
So how long is too long to wait? I mean, I think if you're waiting to 20 laps to go, you've already missed the boat.
Yeah, no, I think you're going to want to come in now by the time the tires switch on. I think within the next 5 laps, you're going to want to kind of bite. Otherwise, you're kind of set in stone. Might be a little bit too late after that.
I guess we haven't really considered that. I mean, we should consider that some drivers might try to make it all the way. But I would just assume that if we've seen guys like... Yeah,
Beckner's coming in.
Okay, maybe not.
And Hartz as well. Which makes
Hartz.
sense. Teammates coming in.
Same lap, same time. Got it slowed down to speed. And that means that Cameron Hearn's move has been forced here unless he wants to really commit. But 30 laps is not a lot of time. That's 15 minutes from here to the end of the race. You don't have a lot of time to make new tires work. I don't think the overcut is the way to go here. I think Cameron Hearn has to hit pit lane this time or he's going to lose too much ground to the drivers he was battling.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially considering he's battling against guys like Cameron Hearn, guys like Ryan Hart and Travis Beckner. They're going to be fighting pretty hard. Here he comes on down. Colin Fambro calling out as well. Garrett Grant's going to stay out, as well as Alex Weaver, Brad Slaughter.
So 30 laps to go this time through. And like I mentioned, that's basically 15 minutes from here to the checkers, assuming we go green. Now, a caution flag right now would really ruin things for a lot of drivers that carefully plan this strategy. But from here on out, it's just going to be how the moves fall here. So is anyone going to try fuel only? Going to do right side tires only?
Coming in.
4 tires for the 67.
Gordon Hurley also coming in this time.
Eric Wineland took 2 tires.
Ooh.
I like that call. I like it a lot.
He kind of needed to because you're straggling quite a bit behind the field, around 9 seconds when he came in. So I think he needed that just to get enough gas to get him going and take some right sides and get back out there as quickly as possible.
So Cameron Hearn is rolling through 1 and 2 right now. Where's the 21 in relation? Still, he's just entering turn 1, though. He's so far back. And even saving 5 or 6 seconds didn't do enough.
Yeah, well, again, he doesn't. In Weiland's case, I wouldn't say he necessarily needs to win.
He doesn't need to win.
You're
right.
But he does need to finish pretty high up the order just to make sure no one else beats him on points, especially guys like Garrett Grant.
The guys that can ruin it for him is if someone below him in the points wins, and then it becomes a lot more important where Wineland finishes. So he's still going to hope that he can get a top 10 or top 5 out of this somehow. But I like the 2-tire call. I think that was really smart. Had to do something.
Matthew Bell now coming in to surrender the lead. Alex Weaver's going to stay on out a little bit longer. So that most of the leaders have pit, though.
So who's going to be the last turnover driver here is Scioli. So he's going to be the one to pick up the lead here after the front 7 pit. Just for reference. So Scioli is currently cycling to be this is your battle for your lead right here. So the 67 is pretty far back.
Yeah, he's actually in behind. He got passed by Beckner and Hartz. They're all in behind Weishart. And actually now Hartz is making a move on David Weishart.
Yeah, the 67, though, this is pretty critical moments here because in his scenario, I am not confident he makes it without winning. So he's going to have to lay it all on the line here and go past these trucks. And you can see that leader, he's a good, 15, 20 truck lengths ahead, and he's got 25 laps to get there. He can't waste time with the 28 and the 3, and getting by teammates is going to be exceptionally difficult.
Yeah, and as these guys are working past the 55 of Jeff New, who's currently the race leader, so they're all also unlapping themselves as well. So it's less of a killer if a caution does come out, because now they're on the lead lap.
Here comes Hearn to the inside of Beckner. This is a pretty critical pass. Beckner's hard to get by. But if he can get by him in the 3, the next driver he'll have to run down is Seidenfeld, then Munsell. But man, that extra lap staying out might have been a real problem maker for him if it doesn't win in this race. I guess that's obvious to say, but
yeah, he's not looking too terrible. He didn't lose a whole lot of time. I mean, obviously the track position's not the best, but he's got slightly fresher rubber, so it can't help him in that scenario.
Here's what helps is that Scioli and Munsell and Seidenfeld are all battling ahead. They're not necessarily single filing and running away, and actually the second group is kind of driven back up to them. The 3, the 28, and the 67. So that's going to help for sure, but Hearn needs to shake this 28 to be able to focus on the next group. Passing Jordan Martin, we're going to be 3 wide on the front straightaway.
Here comes Hart's closing in very quickly onto the back of Seidenfeld, and Munsell. Where's he going to go? Only really option was middle 3 wide. Didn't want to do that. Looking to the inside, and Hart's going to block Hearn down the apron to the white line. He can pass the white line there, although I'm not sure he quite want to. Gets close, almost turns the 3, does Cameron Hearn.
Oh, man. Last night he wasn't aggressive enough. Right here, he's being very aggressive. That 67, if he moves on to the next round of the playoffs, he could be a championship threat. And he's pulling out all the stops here to keep that 67 Chevy behind him. And look at Scioli on defense here on the outside, the 45 to the inside. 5-way battle for the lead, 6-way battle for the lead down the back straightaway. What will cycle to be the lead?
Hart's got put up to the outside lane behind Scioli. Hearn's trying to follow Seidenfeld on through as they race 2 by 2 by 2.
It's like Daytona or Talladega. Big slide there out of turn 4.
Almost 4 wide for the lead.
Oh, look out, don't touch him on the bottom. That's very sketchy. And dicey, the 28 and the 67 almost come together. Now they're 3 wide, 45 on the bottom.
You just saw the 85 of Jeffrey Wilson. He noped out of that. He saw 4 wide in his mirror. He's like, nope, I'm not paying in that.
Now Scioli loses a spot here to the 3 of Ryan Hartz. He's got older tires now too, and 20 laps left this time through. He's got to get this spot back. He's not going to be able to cling on with 5, 6, 7 lap older tires.
It's going to be tough. It's a tall order. You lose so much drivability with those older tires. Here comes Cameron Hearn trying to pass Scioli on the bottom. He's going to stick back in behind the 7. Surprised he didn't go for it. I think he's going to go for it now. Looks to the inside after entry.
I'm liking Hearn's chances a lot better now that they've got this pack up together. He's got the newest tires of anybody in this group. He just needs to know how to apply them. He's been the class of the field tonight in terms of the pace in the long run, led the most laps. But the victory would secure him and answer all questions at once. He would be going to the round of 8 if he can cling on to the lead that he's had most of the night.
Hart's almost with the block on entry to Cameron Hearn. Hearn trying to run that outside, now back in behind. Going to get a little bit of a tow here, a little bit of a run on exit. Going to look to the inside, drag race down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Hearn did that perfectly. Crossed him over just in time into turn 3 now. And he's got him cleared. Cameron Hearn back to the front. It's not over yet, but he's got the position back for now.
And the battle subsides for now as Hart's still trying to, I say that, and now here comes Hart's back to the outside, trying to see if he can get that back from Cameron Hearn. Going to use that run on the back straightaway. Don't quite know if it's enough to clear the 67.
Tire difference is only a lap between these two, so this could go not in Hearn's favor. I don't think the 7 will be much of a threat, but the 28 and 3 certainly could be.
A little bit calmer now as some guys get cycled out. James Scioli is getting past left, right, and center by quite a few guys. Garrett Grant now trying to work on the number 7 machine.
Eric Wineland is down in 21st place, Finney, and not where he needs to be tonight. Door to door through 3 and 4. Look how tight this is coming to 16 to go.
Yeah, still awfully close. I don't think Hart's is going to give this up easily. He's going to continue to fight. Question is, though, is it better for him to find the outside or the inside?
I don't like the inside because you're going to wear your tires up a little bit more, but the 3's got an advantageous position and a teammate there ready to play as well.
I think that's kind of hoping for. I think he's going to try to continue to fight Cameron Hearn, make him burn his stuff up, so by the time last few laps come, Hearn's going to have less to play with, less to work with.
Really good run on the bottom there for Hearn. He's able to stick it to the white line and keep it there. 15 laps to go.
And still crucial to note, these guys are officially not the leaders just yet. Shane Abbey, Josh Taylor, Bryce Sedizek yet to come into pit lane. Although I would imagine they're probably going to come in within the next 10 laps. I'll be surprised if they can go any further than that.
Or they're going to try to stretch this, and they're going to save a whole bunch of fuel. They're running about a second off of what these guys are, but I think a lot of that could be attributed to tires, so we'll see what the deal is here. Maybe clinging to hope for a caution. That could turn this race on its head, too.
I was going to say, as they run, I think catching Shane Abbey and Taylor might be out of it. I think they might be far enough ahead to run. Question is, do they have enough fuel?
I'm going to say no, but again, caution could totally turn this on its head. And it might come from these two as they battle up the racetrack again. How many times this season have we seen the 3 and 67 and the 28 be engaged in a battle like this?
Oh, we've seen quite a few times, and for the most part, it hasn't been too chaotic between these 3. They've been mostly able to sort themselves out, although especially with Cameron Hearn, he's got a lot riding on this win. I'm sure he definitely is going to want to make sure he can get the win home tonight. I'm sure he doesn't really care about the 3 or the 28 in that regard. They already have enough wins for Cameron Hearn. This is a very important win. If he can seal the deal, he's came in a little bit late on entry. Hart's almost doored him.
And before it goes south, because it might, I will say that these guys have raced a long time door to door, and they have not leaned on each other, which is really impressive stuff when this much is on the line for these guys. So going to give them credit where credit is due. I know that the race still has 13 laps to go this time by. We're still side by side. I could be proven a liar now as they bang doors out of turn 4, but so far I really like what I see up front here. And this is tiring for both these drivers to do this lap after lap, and Beckner is just waiting like a salivating dog waiting for a treat to be handed out here as these two battle still down the backstretch.
And laps continue to wind down. It'll be 12 laps to go when they get to the line. 7.8 seconds to the lead. And Shane Abbey, Josh Taylor has come down to pit lane now, leaving just Shane Abbey up in front. Bryce Sedizek has also come down to the pit. So Shane Abbey, the number 12, the only guy out there trying to save it potentially to the end.
If the race ended that lap, Hartz would have won it.
And Shane Abbey on the radio, coming down to pit lane this time by.
Here he comes. Down to pit lane, gets it woed on down as the leaders go to the drivers that will cycle to the lead through 3 and 4 again. They have been side by side for what now, 10 laps?
Yeah, just about. It's felt like a while.
And Beckner, again, just still sitting there waiting in the wings here. The 3, I think, he's got a really good run through 1 and 2 that time. He might get it done here. Almost clear, and he is clear. Ryan Hartz, after 10 laps of battling, gets back in front of Cameron Hearn. Now, Cameron was on the bottom that whole time. Did he burn the stuff up in that 67 truck? He's right back to the quarter panel.
I want to say he kind of might. I want to say they might have burned up some stuff, but he's going to go back to the inside again on Hartz. And I think Hartz is saying, "Go ahead, I'm in the better lane." Or at least what seems to be working for him as the better lane.
10 laps to go. 15 miles left at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This time the 3 clears him in the middle of the corner, and now Hearn has to make sure that the 28 doesn't get to his quarter panel. That would end this race for Hearn. But remember what's on the line here. If Hearn doesn't win this race, he might not move on in the playoffs. He's got to cool his stuff down, Finney, and take another lunge at this. He might have the pace. He's been the fastest truck all night. He just needs to cool the tires off.
I don't know if he can afford to wait, though. That's the thing. I think he's good, because if he waits too long, Beckner will start to make a move on him, and then once Beckner gets side by side with him, Hartz has the chance to break away and drive away.
Regains some ground that time down the back straightaway. Eric Grant running 4th, by the way.
Yeah. He's looking at a really good points haul. I think even if Cameron Hearn wins this race, I think Garrett Grant should be good enough on points because he's running so well in 4th, and I think that's why he's kind of separated himself a little bit back here. Wants to try to make sure that he just brings that truck home. Doesn't necessarily need the win.
8 laps to go. Counting them down. Hearn looks like he's pushing a little bit there, Finian.
I was going to say he has to push. He doesn't really have a choice, I think. I'm not sure how it's going to end up, how it's going to line up with these guys if the 67 doesn't win. There's a chance he can make if he can point himself just in, because I think he might have also secured most laps led if we can get an update on that number.
62 of 120.
Oh, yeah.
Well, unless we go overtime, and I don't even think we don't. No, that won't work. He's got it. Hear him pedaling it through 3 and 4. I think he's struggling with the truck just a little bit. They've kind of been matching each other's lap times, but you need to be a little bit better than the guy in front of you to get back by him.
Do we think, or do we potentially see a dive bomb from the 67? Is he that desperate?
I just don't. I mean, sure, but like, how do you dive bomb at a track where you're almost flat out?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. And that time he was a little
Carl
quicker.
Edwards.
Yeah, maybe.
Carl Edwards maneuver just to throw it into the corner.
He was a little fast. Oh, this is a good run. He's going to try to turn underneath the 3 here. He was a little faster last time by. He's got to try something different, though. Following the 3 isn't going to win you this race.
I think that strategy, what Hartz did, just make Hearn burn up his tires from the inside. I think it helped quite a bit. Hearns has not been able to get a good enough exit because he just can't get the car to rotate as well.
Big push there in 3 and 4, but he made a little bit of ground that time. It's going to be a faster lap again for the 67. 5 laps to go.
Running out of time, running out of laps. Cameron Hearns, the rest of his season could depend on what happens here in the next few laps if he doesn't get the win.
3 bobbled a little bit, middle of the corner. You see the gain now for the 67 down the backstretch. You need to be closer, though. This is kind of the same distance he's been hanging back at.
As they run 1 and 2, Beckner's kind of fallen off this battle about half a second. He's really no longer a factor in the immediate fight for the lead. Just pretty much down to these two guys.
4 laps to go. And it's going to be between these two unless we get a caution flag. And Cameron Hearn again. How desperate is he? The 3 again washes up big time there in middle of 2. Good run here for the 67. It's not over yet.
Exactly what he needs here. Is he going to make the dive into turn 3? He kind of needs to. There he goes. The inside of the number 3 in turn 3.
Got to hold it down here, though. If he washes, he's going to have some overlap here at the exit of turn 4. 3 laps to go. Tucks back in behind the 3.
Tries to get some slipstream, anything, any momentum he can get to try to make a move back on the 3 of Hartz. But Hartz is clear of him into turn 1. I think he's going to try to have to do it again.
Oh, big lift there. The 3's loose in turn 2 here. Hearn's going to get another big run down the backstretch.
Oh, Hearn had a lift.
Oh, yeah, right at the exit of the corner here, following in the tire tracks.
Lap truck ahead of them, Jordan Martin, might be a factor in these closing laps.
Hart's back to the bottom. That's going to hurt the 67. Took his line away. 2 laps to go this time. 3 miles left. Cameron Hearns sees it as flashing ahead of him.
Oh, yeah.
Hartz does not need to win this race. The 67 might slide up the track again, goes the 3. This is where he's weak.
Killed his momentum. Hearn's got the bit of a run. Is it enough though to make a move? No, both of them look to the inside of the 11 of Jordan Martin.
Oh, he hit the apron there. Hearn hit the apron, slid up. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Ryan Hartz.
And all Hartz has to do really is now just not make a mistake. He's still looking in his mirror, I'm sure, just trying to see where the 67 goes. Hearn, is he going to send it?
He just drove in there really deep into turns 1 and 2. Not quite within striking distance, I don't think, but he might have a big send down here in turn 3. Chucks it into the corner, throttles up, he's going to hit the 3, gets into the back of him in turn 4, but it's not enough. Ryan Hartz out of turn number 4 comes back to the checkers. The 3rd win for the number 3 this season, and Hearn gave it everything he had. Comes up half a second short.
He threw everything but the kitchen sink there at it. It's pretty much all he can give to, concerning, the way these trucks race. Just went full throttle into turn 3. Unfortunately, you have to lift at some point.
This battle to the line between Munsell and Fambro. This is for 10th. .64 thousandths of a second between those two. So points will update you when we know. But Cameron Hearn drove in there like he needed it. Ryan Hart's 3rd win of the season. 9th top 5, 12th top 10 in 13 starts.
And a solid drive from Ryan Hartz there. A hard-fought battle between himself and the 67. Not just in that last run, mind you, too. The entirety of this race, those two were fighting tooth and nail.
And cleanly, too. I know the last corner, Hearn took a run at it. But let's have a look at that, by the way, as they came back around here into turn 3. Watch this.
Yeah, I think if he was a little bit closer, there was a chance that move would have worked, but unfortunately it was a little bit too far. But you can see how much they had to lift in order to make the corner. The 6-7 caught up by full throttling, but they had to lift. And he lifted so much that Beckner almost caught him by the time they got to the line.
Yeah, almost lost second place. That could have been a critical position. We'll update you on points when we know. And teammates celebrating again here for the 3rd time this season amongst those two with the 3 on the top of the board. Here's a look at your race results. Finian, Hartz, Hearn, Beckner, Grant, and Alex Weaver. Weaver steals the top 5 after all that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you didn't really talk a whole lot about him because you're so focused on the battle in the front. Great day for him. And also, crucially, the 46 of Garrett Grant coming home in 4th. It's going to be solid points all for him. I think that should be enough to take him to the next round, but we'll see. It really depends on wherever the rest of the dominoes fall, notably James Scully finishing back in 7th. It's going to be tough to tell if that's enough to get him forward. I don't quite think so. Seidenfeld, Bella, and Munsell running out your top 10.
It's going to be very close between the 67 and the 21, I think. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. 11th place, Colin Fambro, Jordan Hurley, Jeff Noe, Weishart 14th tonight. All started with that contact with the 21 and just never really fully recovered. Hallman 15th, Eric Wineland 17th, a disappointing run. And if he clings on, it'll be just barely.
Yeah, and as we go on to the pretty much the final page or so of results here, one thing to note too, Jordan Martin finishing 21st on the radio after they came to take the checkered flag. Cameron Hearn was saying that he felt Martin was playing some team orders with the 3 of Ryan Hartz, because both the 3, the 28, and the 11 are old teammates at Jacob Bell Racing. So he was claiming team orders were at play there at the end.
I didn't really see that there was any obstruction of any kind, but I can see how.
Well, no, but Hearn got less of a good run. It's nothing that the 11 did wrong. You know, it's nice of the lap cars to move out of the way, but yeah, he felt that he was impeding there, trying to help his teammate out.
Well, while we're waiting for points to update, we can talk to Travis Beckner and Ryan Hartz because we know they're on through to the next round. Travis Beckner joins us from 3rd place after the race. Travis, another hard-fought race. You didn't have to do much tonight other than be here. After winning last week at IRP, you solidified your round of 8 run. Tonight, though, 3rd place behind your teammate. Hartz gets it done here, wins his 3rd race of the season. A good night for you in that 3 truck.
Yeah, it is for sure. Cool to see Ryan win, finally not at a super speedway. I've been holding that against him for a while, but I'm happy for him. Yep, I don't know what Cameron's mad about, but he's mad about something with Jordan, but who knows. But fun race overall. Came from 13th, got 3rd. This has never been a good track to me until this week, so I'll take it with the top 5 in both races so far. We'll see what we could do to on Thursday night, but yeah.
Well, you will advance to the round of 8. Travis, congratulations. Any final thoughts here on Las Vegas before we head off to Auto Club next week?
Nothing really. Just got to thank a few people. Of course, y'all taking the time out today to come do this. Y'all have an amazing broadcast. Everybody at JBR and Miller Racing, Rick's Hot Sauce, Lodgebox, Wax Electric, Collier Cutters Landscaping, Palmetto State Army, McConey Setup Shop, and yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Travis. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, driver that got it done tonight, the 3rd time this season, his 3rd win on the year. Ryan Hartz wins at Las Vegas. Ryan, tonight was a fierce battle there with Cameron Hearn, slicing and dicing 2 wide for about 10 laps at a time. You led 20 laps in this 120-lap race and came out on top by half a second. Going into turn 3 on that last lap, Cameron gave it a run but couldn't quite get there. Take us through tonight, and now you're advanced to the round of 8.
I knew he was going to hit me. Travis was saying, watch out for the bump. And he tried, but luckily I had a good enough gap where, I don't think it was going to affect me. So, Yeah, I'm glad to finally get a win, not on a super speedway. That's a relief. It's been a struggle this year on, getting wins on mile and a halves and stuff, but we've been competitive all season, and finally it happens at a non-plate track.
Well, you won the race tonight. It will advance you to the round of 8. We head to Auto Club, and then the last 2 races of the season take place at Richmond and Nashville. At this stage, you're battling in at least the round of 8. There's still the round of 4 to navigate to at Nashville, but how confident do you feel that you can make it to that last round and have a shot to win this thing?
Well, after tonight and the win, I feel pretty good, actually. I think Travis is going to be really, really hard to beat. I think he's the biggest competitor aside from David as of right now. But hell, I think Cameron made it, so if he's going to keep up with me like that, then I'm going to have to battle with him too. So Auto Club and Richmond are pretty good tracks for me. I enjoy both of them, so we just got to practice and put the work in, and hopefully we become a 2 in a row for a series champion. So thanks to Rick Sauce for coming on board, and thanks to Travis for all the help tonight. And I think some people are mad at Jordan for apparently holding up Cameron or something, but I didn't tell Jordan to do anything except give me draft. I didn't tell him to hold up Cameron, anything like that. So just wanted to make that clear, and thanks to JBR for all the support.
Ryan Hartz gets it done. 3rd win on the season. We'll see you next week at Auto Club. Ryan, congrats.
Thank you.
Cameron Hearn, this is out on the round of 8 by 1 point, Cameron. You gave it everything you had there on that last lap. Drove it off there into turn 3. Led the most laps tonight. Were extremely competitive, but just wasn't meant to be. Take us through your night and the battles you had up front.
Yeah, it was a battle. Definitely tough holding it down there on the bottom for so long. Try my best not to wash up into Ryan, even though I'm racing for everything I got, but I don't want to rub him off the track or bobble. And one time I think I hit the apron and backed out of it because I didn't want to shoot the track and hit him, and then just pushing. The draft helps you in a straightaway, but he started moving around the lines and stuff, so I was trying to guess which way he would go on entry. Just didn't have enough. I didn't really have any help. The draft, that run, he was able, I think, to keep it up there when we were flat-footing it around because of the draft. And then he was able to keep there long enough to just kind of pin me down the whole run until it kind of burned up right front.
Well, just shy, both on the victory and on the round of 8, Cameron.
Well, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. You get 1 point for finishing the race with no incidents. I crossed the line with no incidents. So
I see.
There's
okay.
a debate
I see how that's going to go.
A debate in court. So,
okay, I'll give you. Look, innocent till proven guilty, so we'll give you that.
It's a recount, okay? There is
Stop
close.
the count.
And it could go to 3 a.m. in the morning until we know what's going on.
Well,
so, but no. Not making it last week, work obligations, being able to have a chance at it just on points is pretty awesome. But yeah, whether or not making on points, plan on figuring out racing for wins and to see him, finish the year on a strong note.
Well, it was a great, fun race to watch at the very least, and some good hard battles there with the number 3, Cameron. We'll be keeping our eye on that situation. Best of luck. We'll see you next week regardless.
All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. All right, well. Oh boy, some debates to be had, I guess. Here's my thoughts on this. If my interpretation, and I haven't read the rule book in this particular context, but my interpretation of that would be if you get incidents, in a scenario that you would get incidents in the race in an official session, which includes after the start-finish line, then I think that would still count, provided that there are still cars that are actively finishing the race. Now, I don't know the interpretation of the rules. If it's during the race and then you cross the line and the race is over instantly, then Cameron's got a leg to stand on there. But either way, Finian, what happened there that we didn't catch there at the tail end was that Cameron Hearn brake checked the 11 and got incidents after the start-finish line. There is a bonus point for completing the race without any incidents that would be enough to tie the 21 of Eric Wineland, and thus the 67 will also have the tie-breaker based on the season results. So Cameron Hearn might have shot himself in his own foot tonight if that's the way the ruling goes.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the admins roll it, because I'm actually on the flip side of you.
Okay.
The way I interpret it is that if you get an incident during the race, then you would lose that bonus point. After the car finishes across the checkered flag, I don't see that as the incident counting towards it. But neither you and I are the admins. It's really up for the admins to review it after the fact. So we can't really say who's going to be in for now. As they stand right now, we do know the drivers going on to the round of 8 will be David Weishart, Travis Beckner, Ryan Hart, Matthew Bell, Brad Slaughter, Garrett Grant, and Jordan Hurley. The last spot, depending on how this protest is going to work out, will be between Eric Weiland and Cameron Hurd.
But here's the other thing that puts a wrinkle in this: is Eric Wineland is not this series admin, but he is an admin, and so that'll be an interesting power dynamic to play out. I'm not sure I want to be on Cameron Hurd's side of this, regardless of what the rule is. I'm not sure I want to be fighting back after an initial ruling was made, but not our decision to make. We'll find out next week where they all stand. Thanks so much for watching tonight on Sim TV. That'll wrap things up. We'll see you from Auto Club next week, and on Thursday right back here for the Area Lodgebox Series race. We'll do it all again from Las Vegas. Roll the dice and gamble. We'll see you on Thursday.